Good morning everyone, it's Chandrakala and today we will see last topic of our chapter 2, that is application of conservation law of mechanical energy. In last class we have seen that total mechanical energy remains conserved and one form of mechanical energy can be converted into another form of mechanical energy. So today we will see one application based on that, and that is simple pendulum. All of us have seen simple pendulum. That means if a mass is suspended from a rigid support with the help of a string, that is known as simple pendulum. If this is the rigid support and this is the string, and if a ball or any mass is suspended here, mass m, that is known as simple pendulum. Okay, so initially when the mass or bob of the simple pendulum is at rest, that means it is not doing any kind of motion, and this point is known as A. Let it be A. If we will give some displacement to this pendulum on either side, we know that the bob of the simple pendulum covers equal distance in both the sides, as well as it covers or it acquires equal height also if we ignore the force of friction. And obviously in conservation law of mechanical energy we will not consider friction force. So if we will displace this simple pendulum to point B, and it will acquire some height, and after some time it will come back and reach to A, and then it will be displaced in another direction, and at this point is C. And if this position we will consider as ground, then here it has acquired a height h, and here also it has acquired a height h. This will be equal. We know that this displacement and this displacement will be equal, and this height and this height will also be equal. So now we have three positions. One is point A, which is known as mean position of the bob or the pendulum. That means when the bob was at rest, it was not having any motion, then the bob was in the rest position here at point A, and when it is displaced in one of the direction, then it covers some displacement and reach to maximum height h at point B. After that it will come back to A, and then it will go to C, and then it will come back to A. Okay, now we will talk about mechanical energy. So when initially the object or the bob was at rest, here we know that on ground we have considered potential energy equal to 0. Here at A, potential energy will be 0 because height is 0. Okay, and when it will acquire some height, then at B it will have some potential energy, and it will not be 0 because it is having height, and obviously there will be one force due to gravity. That means it will be equal to mgh. And when it will come back here, that means initially the object or the bob was at rest, it was displaced up to some height h, because of that it acquired some potential energy. Now when it will be left here after acquiring maximum height, then due to gravity its kinetic energy here will become 0, and then due to gravity it will fall in the backward direction and come back at A. And after coming or reaching to A, its potential energy will again become 0, but this time here it will have kinetic energy, and that is equal to half mv square. That is equal to potential energy, that is equal to mgh, because this potential energy at B is only converting into kinetic energy. So kinetic energy at point A will be equal to potential energy at point B. That's why here kinetic energy is equal to mgh. Now if it is having here kinetic energy, that means it is having some velocity, and because of that velocity it will not come to rest here, since here it is having maximum kinetic energy, that means maximum velocity. So it will move to another side and then reach to point C. As soon as it will reach to point C, it will have again some potential energy, and that will be equal to mgh because it is having height here. Okay, and after acquiring this maximum height, for one moment it will come to rest, and then it will move back towards A. Then its potential energy will decrease and its kinetic energy will increase, and again it will have maximum kinetic energy here. Then because of that kinetic energy, it will move to B, then again A, then again C, then A, and then B. So here what we are noticing is at point A, potential energy is equal to 0 since height is equal to 0. Kinetic energy is equal to potential energy is equal to mgh. Reason we have already discussed, because when the body will be coming from here, then its potential energy which the body was having at B, this potential energy will be converted into kinetic energy. So that potential energy is equal to kinetic energy. Okay, and then at B, at point B, we know that its kinetic energy is equal to 0. The reason is because after acquiring a particular height, the velocity of the bob will become 0, because as it will move in the upward direction, its velocity will decrease, and finally it will become 0. So kinetic energy is equal to 0, and now it has acquired some height, and because of that height it is having potential energy that is equal to mgh. But you can say that that potential energy is equal to this kinetic energy. That means the body was having kinetic energy here, and that kinetic energy is converting into potential energy. So again the potential energy is equal to this, and at point C, it is having height, so potential energy will be equal to mgh and kinetic energy will be equal to 0, because after acquiring maximum height it will come to rest. So the conclusion is total mechanical energy remains constant in all the cases. Total mechanical energy is mgh. First thing. Second thing, we are not talking about initial condition. We are talking when we have displaced the body. After displacement, what is happening? So we are saying that at mean position, whole of the mechanical energy of the bob is in the form of kinetic energy only. It is not having potential energy because height is 0. Similarly, at point B, it is having all its energy in the form of potential energy only, but its kinetic energy is 0 here. Similarly, at C also, due to height, it will have only potential energy and the kinetic energy will be again 0. But overall, the conclusion is total mechanical energy remains constant. So this is the same thing which we have discussed yesterday. This is one application of that particular thing, that is the conservation law of energy. And same things are applicable here. That means here also we have ignored the force of friction. Otherwise here when the kinetic energy will be, or when the bob will move to a height, then there will be an interaction with the air, and that air will apply a friction force, because of which its kinetic energy will decrease. But here also we have ignored the friction force or the buoyant force applied by the air. Now we will discuss one numerical question from exercise 2C. Question number 5. A hydroelectric power station takes its water from a lake whose water level is at a height of 50 meters above the turbine. Assuming an overall efficiency of 40%, calculate the mass of the water which must flow through the turbine each second to produce power output of 1 megawatt. So obviously, first of all, we will write down what things are given here. Height is given, that is 50 meters above the turbine. Assuming the overall efficiency is given, that is 40%. Calculate the mass. We have to calculate mass. Calculate the mass which must flow through the turbine each second. Time is equal to 1 second through the turbine each second to produce a power output. Power, and that is also output, is equal to 1 megawatt, and G is equal to 10 meter per second square. Okay, so these are the things given in the question, and we have to calculate mass. So obviously, first of all, we will start from efficiency. Okay, so the efficiency is 40%, and this 40% is 1 megawatt. That means this is power output. That means initially we have given some input power, but most of the power, that is 60% of the power, has been lost, and our machine has made use of only 40%, and that 40% is 1 megawatt. Okay, or in other words, we know that mega means 10 raised to power 6. So you can say 10 raised to power 6 volt. Okay. First of all, we will solve efficiency is equal to, we know that power output upon power input. Power output upon power input. So we will calculate power input. This is 40%. So I can write 40 upon 100 is equal to power output is given, that is 1 megawatt, and power input we don't know. So we have to calculate power input. Now input power is equal to 1 upon 40 into 100. 0, this is 2, this is 5, that is equal to 5 upon 2 is equal to 2.5 megawatt. Okay, this is power which was given, and now we want mass, and here we are making use of height. That means we want mass in terms of potential energy, and obviously the potential energy is associated with work. So here we have to find out work. Now we have amount of power, so we can find out work. We know that power is equal to work done upon time. This implies power is 2.5 is equal to W, we don't know, time, that is given 1 second. So that is equal to 1. From here we got amount of work done is equal to 2.5 megawatt. That means the amount of work done and power are same. And we know that since the work done is in the form of potential energy, so potential energy or the amount of work done is equal to mgh. Now we have amount of work done, that is 2.5. If you want to convert it into, this is megajoule. Here we have calculated work done, so it will be joule. 2.5 into 10 raised to power 6. Obviously m we do not have, and g is given that we can take g is equal to 10. So we will take here 10, and h is given how much? 50. So from here we can calculate the value of m, that is equal to 2.5 into 10 raised to power 6 upon 10 into 50 upon 10 into 50. Okay, when we will remove this decimal, we will get here, this is 2, this is 1, this is 2. So basically 1 upon 2 and 2 zeros from here. So it is 1 upon 2 into 10 raised to power 4. That is equal to m is equal to 0.5 into 10 raised to power 4 is equal to 5000 kilogram. This is the amount of mass. Okay. So once we will see again, see some things are given, that is the height is given, efficiency is given, mass we have to calculate, time and power output are given. So first of all, with the help of the efficiency we can calculate power input. Then with the help of power input we can calculate the amount of work done, because we want here m, and the work done is in the form of potential energy. So we will make the use of formula W is equal to mgh. W we are having, G we are having, H we are having. So from here we can calculate the amount of mass. Rest of the questions of exercise 2C you will try by yourself, and if you have any doubt then let me come to know, then we will see it. Now we have to see the doubts of exercise 2B. First we will see the theoretical doubts. That is, first doubt is question number 9 in question answer. So it has two parts. The first part is we have to write down the formula for kinetic energy, that is half mv square, we know it. And the second part is show that the quantity 2k upon v square has the unit of mass, where k is the kinetic energy of body. That we have to see. That means what we have to see, unit of mass, and obviously from here this is kinetic energy is equal to half mv square. So from here we can say that m is equal to 2k upon v square, and this is our question, 2k upon v square. We have to show that this quantity has the unit of mass. In class 9th we have studied one chapter on units and measurements, and there we have studied for an equation the units at left hand side must be equal to right hand side. This we have studied. So from there we are having here m is equal to 2k upon v square. That means this quantity 2k upon v square must have unit of mass, because it is equal to mass. Okay. Here first of all we will discuss unit of k. Okay, that is the kinetic energy. We know that the unit of kinetic energy is equal to joule. Okay, joule is the unit of work done or energy, and we know that work done is equal to F into S, force into displacement. So the unit of force is Newton and this displacement is meter. Here this force, we can convert it into MA. Force is equal to MA into displacement. So the unit of mass will be kilogram, unit of acceleration will be meter per second square, and unit of displacement will be meter. This we know. That means from here the unit of kinetic energy, that means the derived unit of kinetic energy is kilogram meter into meter, meter square upon second square. Let it be equation 1. Okay, and v square, v is the velocity, so the unit of v is equal to meter per second. This implies the unit of v square will be equal to meter square upon second square, equation number 2. If we will put this equation 1 and 2 in our formula, then let's see, m is equal to 2. 2 is constant, so it will not have any unit. Okay, 2 will not have any unit. Unit of k, that is kinetic energy, that is equal to kilogram meter square upon second square. Okay, divided by v square, and unit of v square is meter square upon second square. So is it equal to kilogram? And kilogram is the unit of mass. So that means we have solved our equation. We have to show that this 2k upon v square has the unit of mass, and we have shown that 2k upon v square has the unit of mass. So this is the second part of question number 9. Now we will see one more question. That is also the theoretical question. In what ways does the temperature of water at the bottom of waterfall differ from temperature at top? Explain the reason. In last class we have already seen that when the water falls from a height, then some amount of, basically we have seen that when the water will fall from a height, then at height it will have potential energy, and that potential energy will be converted in kinetic energy when it will reach to the ground or strike to the ground. Along with that, we have seen one note that some amount of energy, some amount of kinetic energy will be lost in the form of heat on the way due to friction of air. Similarly, when the water will strike with the ground or the surface of the earth with a very high speed, then again some amount of kinetic energy will be converted into heat and sound. And we know that if heat will be produced, then temperature will increase. That means the water at the bottom will have high temperature than the water at the top, because when the water strike with the ground, some amount of kinetic energy is changed into heat energy, and that heat energy increased the temperature of the water. So hence temperature at bottom will be more than at top. This is answer for our this question. Now we will see the numerical doubts of exercise 2b. So first doubt is from exercise 2b, question number 6. A boy weighing 25 kg force climbed up from the first floor at a height of 3 meter above the ground to the third floor at a height of 9 meter above the ground. What will be increase in his gravitational potential energy? G is given 10 Newton per kilogram. So what is given? Weight means force. Weight is equal to force is equal to 25 kilogram force, and G is given and H is given. Okay, H1 is 3 meter and H2 is equal to 9 meter. We have to find out change in potential energy. So we have two methods. Either first we can do it mg H2 minus H1. From there we can get answer. Otherwise separately we can calculate two potential energies and then we can see difference between them. Okay, so if we will talk about potential energy 1, that is equal to mg H1. Mg, see, if here we will convert it into Newton, then we have to multiply it by G, and here G is given 10, so 250 Newton, and that is equal to mg. Otherwise here you write down m from here and G 10, same things are there. So it is 250 and into what is H, that is 3. Okay. Similarly, potential energy 2 will be equal to mgh2. So mg, that is force, is equal to 250 and h is equal to 90. So from here approximately we will get 750 joule, and from here approximately we will get 2250 joule. So change in potential energy will be equal to, obviously potential energy 2 is more than potential energy 1 because height is more in potential energy 2. So this is 2250 minus 750 is equal to 1500 joule. That is change or increase in the potential energy. Now we will see our next question, that is question number 9. So in question number 9, a block A weighing 100 Newton is pulled up a slope of length 5 meter by means of constant force F is equal to 100 Newton. Work done for displacement, this is S, displacement is equal to 5 meter. This is our first question, and we know that work done is equal to F into S. Especially he has mentioned that we have to take displacement that is equal to 5 meter. So that means it is 100 into 5, that is equal to 500 Newton. Work done, that means joule. Okay. And the second thing is increase in the potential energy. See, in potential energy we will take height only, that is the vertical height. Initially the object was here, that means you can consider it here, and now the object is here, that means we have to take vertical height, and we know that this is not vertical height. See, this is difference between displacement and height. Displacement is this one, whereas height is this one. So if when we will calculate potential energy or increase in potential energy, both the things are same. We have already discussed that here we have considered potential energy is equal to 0. So in that case, potential energy at this point will be difference in potential energy or increase in potential energy. So potential energy is equal to mgh, and mg we are having, that is 100. Mg means the force, and h is given here 3, that is equal to 300 joule. So difference in work done, explain difference between work done and 3 meter increase in potential energy. So difference between work done and potential energy is equal to 200 joule, that is 500 minus 200. Difference, that is C part. Difference in work done and potential energy or change in potential energy is equal to 500 minus 300 is equal to 200 joule. So where this 200 joule has gone, that has gone working against the force of friction, because if the moment of the block will be in this direction, then one friction force will be acting in the opposite direction and some amount of energy will be lost there. So actually this 200 joule of energy has lost due to friction. Our next question is question number 18. A truck weighing 1000 kg force changes its speed from 36 km per hour to 72 km per hour in 2 minutes. Calculate work done and power. Okay, so what is given? It is given weight. Weight is equal to force is equal to 1000 kg force. Okay, changes its speed, that means two speeds are given. You can tell them S1 or S2 or V1 or V2 as you wish. So it is 36 km per hour and V2 is equal to 72 km per hour. Time is given 2 minutes and what is given? G is given 10 meter per second square. So it will be meter per second square. Okay, so these are the things given, and what we have to calculate? We have to calculate work done. Okay. So see here, weight is equal to 1000 kg force. It is given in gravitational unit. If we have to convert it into Newton, because we need mass here, we will need mass here. Work done, we will calculate work done due to change in kinetic energy, and both in kinetic energy and in potential energy, in both the cases we will need mass. So obviously we will have to calculate mass. When we will multiply this kilogram force into G, and G is mentioned here 10. So if we will multiply it by 10, then we will get answer in Newton, that is 10,000 Newton. Now we know that this force is equal to 10,000 Newton, that is equal to mg. Yes, force is mg. So here if you want to calculate m, we are talking about weight, and weight will be acting in the downward direction, so it will be equal to mg obviously. So From here now we can calculate the value of mass, and that is equal to, mass is equal to, if you will divide this force by g, then we can calculate. Let me solve it here. Force is equal to 10,000 Newton, okay, and force is equal to mg is equal to 10,000. Therefore m is equal to 10,000 upon g. That means 10,000 upon g is 10. So again it is 1,000. And now it is kilogram. Otherwise from here also we know directly that if it is given in kilogram force, then this numerical value will be equal to mass only. Or otherwise we can calculate it from here. The force was given in kilogram force. First of all, we have converted it into Newton. Now we have force in Newton. Force is equal to mg, because we are talking about weight, and weight will be acting in the downward direction, and it will be equal to mg. So force is equal to mg. From here we have calculated the value of m. Okay. Two more things we have to do. That is, see, here we are having kilogram. And here these two units, the SI unit of speed or velocity will be meter per second. That means we will have to convert both these velocities in meter per second. So from there, 36 into 5 upon 18, that is equal to 10 meter per second, and 72 into 5 upon 18, that is equal to 20 meter per second. So now SI system, this also convert it into SI, that is the second. 2 into 60 is equal to 120 seconds. Now we have everything in SI system. Now we can solve our question. So what we are talking about, the truck weighing 1000 kilogram force changes its speed from this to this in 2 minutes. Calculate the work done. Here change in speed take place, and from work energy theorem we know that when the amount of work done will be change or increase in the kinetic energy. So here the velocity is changing, that means the kinetic energy is changing. Next thing, the velocity is increasing, that means the kinetic energy is increasing, because initially the body was moving with a speed of 36, then 72, that means the kinetic energy is increasing. So from our work energy theorem, amount of work done is equal to increase in kinetic energy, and increase in kinetic energy is equal to half m. If the final velocity is v, then it is half m u square. V is the final velocity, u is the initial velocity, that is equal to half m v square minus u square. Now we have half m, we have calculated right now, that is 1000. V square means final velocity. So the truck had started from here. This is the initial velocity, this is the final velocity. So that is the final velocity 20. Square of 20 minus square of 10. Okay. So that is equal to 1 upon 2 into 1000 into 400 minus 100 is 300. So now the amount of work done will be approximately equal to, okay, that is equal to 150 and these 3 zeros joule, which can also be written as 1.5 into 10 raised to power 5 joule. This is the amount of work done. This is our first question or first part. Now we have to calculate power, and that we know that power is equal to work done upon time. So work done is 1.5 into 10 raised to power 5 upon time. Time is this in seconds. We will take time in second, that is 120, that is equal to 120. If we will take it 150 once, then it will be 120, cancel out, and it will be 4, it will be 5, and then it will be 1.2. 1.25 into 10 raised to power 3, and power, the unit of power is volt. So this is our next solution. That means first of all we have converted all the values in SI system. We have calculated the amount of mass. Then we use the concept of kinetic energy. Increase in kinetic energy is equal to work done according to work energy theorem. So the final increase in kinetic energy means final kinetic energy minus initial kinetic energy. Now we have all the values. M is equal to 1000, V square in SI system 20, and this is 10. From here we got the amount of work done. Now we have to calculate power, and power is equal to work done upon time. So this is work done divided by time, then we got the amount of power. So that's all about second chapter. Now the numerical exercise, all the 3 numerical exercise are compulsory to do in the FAIR notebook. That means this is your homework. Notes are optional. If you want, you can do. If you don't want, it's your wish. But the numerical exercise of all the 3 sections must be done in the notebook. One assessment, internal assessment of 40 marks will be given to you, as well as your lab manual. These things we must complete before restarting of the class. Thank you.